You look up into the sky, the starry firmament, and what do you see reflected back down to you? You see this image of the divine word. That's what you see. You might not even know that you're seeing that. You don't know you're in a forest. You don't know you're seeing the sunlight filter through the branches. You know, our ancestral home for millions, tens of millions of years. You don't see the immense labor and effort that it took to erect that cathedral and to put that image in its highest place. And at least she dressed like a lobster. So that was good, actually. And as far as protests go, relatively witty, although perhaps somewhat ill-timed. I've been discussing a series of images with my wife, and one of them is an image of Mary. And it was a Renaissance image that was painted by many, many people. And it's funny, I'm going to talk about the divine feminine after that interruption. Mary is often represented with her head surrounded by stars and with her foot on a serpent on the world. Right? And so, well, what is that exactly, that image? Well, it's something like, what is it to have your head in the stars, let's say? Well, you know, I bought this cottage up north in northern Canada, and it's very dark up there. And you can go onto the dock at night, and it's dark enough so you can see the Milky Way, you know, and it has to be pretty dark before you can see the Milky Way. And it's very impressive. And you know what that's like if you've been out to see the night sky, or maybe you feel the same way when you see the Grand Canyon or a remarkable waterfall or some particularly beautiful scene, or perhaps you feel that way in a cathedral, or more likely you feel that way when you're listening to music that really grips you, right? And it's all the same experience, it's an experience of awe, and it's way down low in your nervous system like the orienting reflex. It's not a cognitive response precisely. It's a precognitive emotional response that signifies significance. And you look up at the night sky, and it fills you with a sense of awe. But it doesn't just do that. You see, it activates the impulse to imitate, which is a very deep motivation in human beings. We're unbelievable mimics. We mimic each other all the time, which is why we all use the same words, let's say. We're very good at embodying other people's embodiments. It's a particular talent that human beings have, and we're so good at that we imitate all sorts of things that aren't even human. And so then you view this expansive night sky, and a sense of awe fills you as you confront the infinite. And it calls to something inside of you that can master the infinite. And that's a form of imitation, right? To look into the darkest place, the most wide expanse possible, and to have something inside you respond that's capable of dealing with that. That's that instinct to imitate. And that's calling the best out of you, and that's why you love doing that. And it isn't just that you love it, it's that you cannot live without it. You cannot live without it. And I know so many of you, atheists or otherwise, you can't live without music. I think, why can you not live without music? What is it calling to precisely? You know, that remarkable interplay of harmonious patterns. Because that's what music is, and that's what the world is. It's not objects, it's the harmonious interplay of patterns. And music reflects that, and then you orient yourself in your embodied manner to those patterns and dance along with the world. And that revivifies you, and if you're particularly good at it, well, maybe you'll also attract a mate. And you want a mate that doesn't attempt to dominate you sexually during the introductory dance, right? You want a mate who will play along with you and match your movements to theirs so that you can see that there's a harmonious interplay between the two of you as you meet in play, soul to soul, if you can manage it. And everyone knows that. And that capacity that's called out in the dance is the same capacity that's called out by the night sky, and it's the same thing that's represented in those Byzantine churches. You look deep enough into infinity and you find your destiny.